having been in those. Okay, it's trying to give me a hard time. There we go. We are live now on the other platforms. Welcome into the room. You guys come on in. I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear on you guys and on Clubhouse, but it's been a minute since I've been on Clubhouse, so I am thrilled to be here. You will see me more often. I have a number of things going on in this season. Two podcasts that I'm doing or working on right now, and several books. So you'll be hearing a lot from me in this season. We got to get these things done because it's so much that we all need. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to have these platforms to share and to express and to hear different things that are going on, different people's perspectives on things. It's just amazing because even listening to other people's perspectives on things, I can absolutely still identify where I am, and it pretty much solidifies who I am and where I am and why I'm there. If that makes sense. So come on in. We're going to do these things together. I'm trying to do multiple things here, so you guys be patient with me tonight because it's been a minute since I've done a number of things at one time. But as we are preparing to get things started here, I want to go ahead and welcome everybody into the room once again. I am going to show my face tonight so y'all don't have to run off. I know the Saints is just really special, and tonight I don't have any issues in my mouth. Hallelujah. So I'm excited tonight just to be here and be free. Come on in. Come on in. Hey. Blessings to you. Come on in the room. Hey, Zero, how are you on Clubhouse? Thank you for coming into the room with me tonight. We're going to get some things started here. I don't know how clearly Clubhouse is going to be able to hear what I'm getting ready to play, but I'm going to play just a little taste, a little tad bit of my jingle for Unfiltered Honey, the podcast. The book is going to be released here in just a month or two, and I'm getting some things together. And so I'm excited about the book because, again, I believe there's still so much misinformation in the way of relationship, particularly intimate relationship. So much misinformation. And can I tell you something? The truth of the matter is, even when there's right information, if people are doing it for the wrong reasons, then the spirit of how it's coming across is still wrong, because people are looking to just kind of piggyback off of what they heard somebody say that was right, but they're not right. Like, you understand what I'm saying? They're not right. And so they're simply just taking the words of someone else to try to secure the people. You understand? But ultimately what happens is over time, who they really are really comes out. It really comes out. They said, it may not come out in the wash, but it'll definitely come out in the rinse. And it's a lot of people having a lot of conversations about relationships. And some of these people that I'm hearing have these conversations about relationships in this season, I know these people personally and have been intimately, not intimately as in sexually, but intimately as in I know them well. And they are not good people relationally, period, across the board. They are not good people. So talking about intimate relationship just baffles me because I'm like, you can't even have platonic, decent relationship with people, let alone have an intimate relationship. So I'm glad to be here with you guys tonight. And for those of you who are on Clubhouse, if you want to see me as well as hear me, you can go to my Facebook page, which is Crystal Lee, Kristallee, or you can also find me on YouTube. And I'm not on that channel right now. So crazy enough, it just dawned on me that I'm not on that channel. I'm not connected to that channel. So that gives me something else to do. Hey, Shiva, thanks for coming back in the room. So I'm going to play the jingle real quick. See if you guys can hear it. I'm hoping that you can hear the jingle. But if you cannot on Clubhouse, I'm going to work out all these details. I'm going to figure out how all this stuff interacts and how it all works together. And we'll be able to make this thing happen. I know that there is a way that you guys can call in. It's a way that a lot of this stuff connects. I've done a lot of this over the years since 2008. However, I've been away from some things for a while, and then I had help in another season, so I didn't have to worry about all the back office stuff. So prayerfully, we will have people that can do the back office stuff again really, really soon, and that won't have to be something that I'm concerned about. However, as it pertains to right now, I'm going to need to buckle down and identify how all of this stuff connects, how it all works together so that everything is crystal clear and everything is really pristine and clean. So I'm going to let you guys hear the short version of the jingle for Unfiltered Honey, and then we're going to have some conversations about relationship. And particularly, I want to talk tonight. There's something that's coming up on my radar when we talk about love. I want to kind of divide these two things, because I think that people get into things before they should get into them. They don't vet. See, I've been in platonic relationships. I've had male friends my entire life, and so I understand what it means to have platonic relationship. A lot of people are not really good at platonic relationships. Like, they think that every relationship has to have something to do with us getting with one another, having sex, all of these different things. And they don't understand the benefit of just learning how to fellowship, okay, before they take it to the next level. And so this is really important, that we learn how to first have fellowship with one another before we take it to the next level. And fellowship simply means, I'm willing to hang out with you. I would like to know more about you. You may not be my person as far as intimate relationship goes, but I would love to know more about you. You piqued my interest. There's something about you that is attractive. There's something about you that draws me to you, and I'd like to get to know what that is. Not necessarily automatically jumping into, oh, well, I like what I saw, and so now all that means to me is that I'm physically attracted to you, and that means that we need to be intimately connected. I think we need to back up for a minute and realize that there is more to relationship dynamics than just the, ooh, I like what I see, can we be together? If that makes sense. Hey, Sunshine, how are you? So I'm going to play the short version of this really quickly. And after I play the short version of this, then we're going to go ahead and dive in, okay? Let me know if you can hear it. I hope you guys can hear that. I love that jingle. And by the way, if you need a jingle done, you can hit your girl up as well. Y'all know I do graphics, jingles, music, all that kind of stuff. But that's not what we're here for tonight. But it's a shameless plug. No, an unshameless plug. I'm really not ashamed to share what I do in the season, because you'll never know what I do unless I tell you what I do. You'll never know how you can benefit. So since I brought that up, that's necessary for this conversation, because people never know how they can benefit until they have tapped into who you are, not just on the surface level. It's a lot of people who really are just attracted to you on the surface level, but once they get to know the responsibility of who you really are, then it's an issue. It's a little bit of an issue, because that might be a little bit too much for the average person. So this is why it's so important that we begin to identify how to fellowship, how to come into relationship with people on the fellowship level. Meaning, I'm not looking to get into bed with you. I'm not looking to tell you all of what I think you are today. I was just simply interested in something about you. It's something about you. And I'm not saying that people are not attracted. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But what I am saying is that we need to draw a line of demarcation. Men and women, you need to pump your brakes, because this is how we get into a lot of situations that are very damaging. This is how we get into a lot of situations that we don't really need to be in. This is how we jump in before we need to with both feet or head first. It's unnecessary. We need to learn how to relate to people without putting unrealistic expectations on them. You understand what I'm saying? If we don't put these unrealistic expectations on people, then we can better learn who they are. Like, if you want to know who somebody is, approach them and say, hey, it's something about you that attracted me to you. Now, yes, you are handsome, or yes, you are, in the case of, the female, yes, you are beautiful in the case of the male, but it's something about you. So I'm not here just to tap into what's outward. I'm not here to tap into what I see with my eyes. It's something that drew me to you, and I want to identify what that is. You understand what I'm saying? Then when people go out and have coffee or they go hang out, it's a way to platonically connect with people without everybody having these false concepts of connection. Are y'all listening to what I'm saying? So this is one of the reasons why I'm writing the book. Another reason why I'm writing the book, Unfiltered Honey, is because I believe that from a marital perspective, as well as from a singles perspective, there's a lot of misinformation and a lot of information that we're going to need. You know, you can never be greater than what you know. You can never go further than what you know today. You have to learn the thing that you don't know in order to go where you haven't been. So this is really important that we begin to identify um, different things on different levels so that we can come into those places. You can't come into a place that you've never been exposed to. And so I want to expose people in this book, Unfiltered Honey, to the various aspects of life, the various aspects of relationship, and how everything is not about intimacy first. I know that you're excited on your journey, but I want to tell you something. There's a beauty in both marriage and in single. There's a beauty in both of those ways of living. I've lived on both sides of the fence, and I can honestly tell you that in this previous season of mine, in this season that I've been in for about 5 or 6 years now, I learned how to love living single. Not because I was like, oh, I just don't need a man because I've been married twice and divorced. No, it wasn't that at all. I still am very much so excited about the covenant. I'm still very much so into relationship. And I don't know why I keep fooling with these bangs, but you know, on these platforms, when you're looking at your image, it's a mirror on these platforms. So it's really weird because when you're trying to fix a certain thing, you can't fix it real quick because you're fixing the other side of your face. You're fixing the other side of your face and not the side that you're really going for. You're really going for one thing and you're winding up on the other side because it's a mirror. So at the end of the day, the Father has a plan for man's pleasure. Now, I know that sounds strange to a lot of people because when we think of a God dimension, we don't think of sex, right? We don't think of sex. But the truth of the matter is, He created intimacy. He created it for covenant. He created it. So when you think of the personhood of God or the character of God or who He is, what comes to mind are all the things that you heard about Him. You may not even know all these things about Him, but you may have heard it. He is all of these things. He's loving, He's pure, He's righteous, He's holy, He's divine, He's joy, He's magnificence, He's extraordinary, you know, He's unmatched. All of these descriptions and more. But would it absolutely amaze you to think that that kind of God would desire indescribable pleasure as it pertains to your intimate life? We don't have enough conversations about this. And so this is why people try to do stuff outside of where it was created. Can I tell you something? Oftentimes when you're trying to deal with a thing outside of its originator, you're going to get a knockoff. Did you hear what I said? If you try to do things, hey elder, if you try to do things outside of how it was originated. So like you try to get a Louis Vuitton bag. I talk about this all the time. And one of the reasons why I talk about it is because my grandmother used to take me to New York every year to do my school shopping. And so there were always all of these people on the street. And even when I went to workshop and different places that she took me to every year, there were always these people who had these bags, you know. They were not the authentic bags. They were amazing knockoffs, though. They were beautiful knockoffs. But the thing about the knockoff is if you don't have a relationship with the authentic thing, you're going to get a knockoff. And it may look good in the moment, but what happens as things get old, what happens as things wear, the wear and tear is completely different. You understand what I'm saying? How it wears, how it's even able to be restored. Because see, you can restore a Louis Vuitton bag. You can restore that. You can take that leather cleaner and you can take that polish. You can do things to that bag. You can take it to a place and have the inside, if you rip the inside, where that lining, that plush lining is. You understand what I'm saying? That velvet lining. You can get that restored without tearing up your bag. But if you try to take a knockoff for repair, you're likely going to have a torn up bag, because it's not made the same. The stitching is not the same. How it's put together is not the same. It's the same thing with relationship. And the truth of the matter is, the Father created relationship. He created intimate relationship between the man and the woman, and he had a desire that they would have pleasure with one another. Okay? And so, although we know all of these things about the Father, there's something that we have yet to tap into concerning him, and that's his desire for us to have pleasure. There is a scripture that talks about, at his right hand are pleasures forevermore. So we're talking about, if we're in him, if we're connected to him, and we're doing things according to how they were created, then these things can be absolutely pleasurable. But if we start mixing ideas and concepts, like the world's view, a world concept versus the divine concepts of how he created a thing, then we're going to have a bit of an issue. We're going to have a bit of a mess, right? You hear a lot of, I'm going to just go to how a lot of men identify with things when they talk about what they want. Let's talk about that for a minute. Again, if you're here, I welcome you. I'm excited to have you in the room, whether you're on Clubhouse, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are. If you're looking at this by replay, by Instagram or TikTok, listen, I'm glad to have you here. But listen, what I want to deal with is the fact that he desires your pleasure. And I know a lot of men, I'm just going to throw out one of those concepts that a lot of men talk about. They like, you know what? I want, I got, I don't practice these concepts. So when I'm thinking about them, or when they're coming to my mind, I have to think about them for a minute, because it's not something that completely flows off my tongue. But the end of the phrase is a freak in the sheets. I don't remember the first part of that. What is it? It's a lady in the streets. There, that's it. It's a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. Okay, wait. Let's rewind for a minute here, because what I'm trying to understand. Hey, T, how you doing, sis? I love you. You're beautiful. I love you. And blessings on your journey. It's coming along amazing. I want a lady in the streets, but a freak in the sheets. Okay, so let's kind of unpack this for a minute, because what we're dealing with is appetites, and how we arrive at appetites. Okay, Zero, you want to come in the room? I'm going to let Zero in the room. Hey, Jethro. I'm going to let you in, Zero. Hold tight 1 second. What we're dealing with is a person's appetite. So now we got to deal with where appetites come from. One of the reasons why a lot of people are not able to have pure, intimate relationship. One of the reasons why men look at women the way that they look at them, sexualized, as just a figure, just a form. You don't look at the woman as just as a force. You're looking at her as a form. So because you're only looking at her as a form, you're only able to access that part of her. But if you see her as the force that she is, then you can access more of her. You can access her mind. You can access her ideas. You can access the creativity, the innovation. You can access all of that. The mere fact that the woman, whatever you give the woman, she's able to reproduce. She's able to produce more of it. The mere fact of that, it should denote a level of respect. Hey, Lenice, I see you, Hightower. It should denote a level of respect beyond just her form. It says a whole lot to who she really is, because she is just a womb of a man. She's the womb man. She's still mankind, but she's the womb man. In other words, she's the part of the man that has the ability to reproduce, not just on a physical level, but on many levels, on an intellectual level, on a spiritual level, on a physical level. Listen, on an emotional level, she has the ability to reproduce. So we have these concepts like, I want a lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets, because of the appetite that a man has formed. Because what's wrong? I mean, why? Where does this freak part come from? Because, this, I'm going to read more of what's on the back of the book, because I want you to understand where I'm coming from, because these concepts come from somewhere. And so when we think about the fact that a creator created intimacy, right? And that it's in his plan, right? So let's look at this, because his desire is indescribable pleasure as it pertains to our intimate life. So it probably would, since our cultural indoctrination presents intimacy as nasty. Here's the problem. The culture says, and there's an indoctrination in the culture that presents intimacy as nasty, vile, and vulgar. It is not. It is not nasty. It is not vile and vulgar. But the culture has created this dynamic and has entered nasty, vile, and vulgar situations, nasty, vile, and vulgar concepts or identities of the pleasurable experience, the intimate experience between the man and the woman. But that was never the intent of the creator of that. It was never his intent. Intimacy is in his plan. And it was created not just for reproduction. I've heard people say, these are, of course, church people. You see me with the quotes. These are, of course, religious people. They talk about sex as if it is only for reproduction. That's foolishness. If it was only for reproduction, then he would have found a whole nother way to do this. Because be mindful of the fact that if we believe that the Mashiach came and that the Father actually put a seed of himself inside the womb of a woman, then he could have done that. He could have done that transfer. We could just transfer it by how we look at each other. We could transfer it a different way. He didn't need to do, the vagina and the penis to make a point. You understand? It wasn't about art, okay? It wasn't just about art. It was about the experience. It was about the encounter. It was about all of it, all rolled into one. So here we go. It would probably shock you, that intimate relationship, in the case of many, is an unaccepted gift from God. It's unaccepted. The way that he presented it, the way that he defined it, the way that he desired it for us, it's an unaccepted gift. Can I tell you something? Not many people have accepted the gift of intimacy on the level that God has created it. That's why they keep going outside of the creator. Do you know that every product has a product manufacturer, and the product manufacturer absolutely creates a dynamic for that product called a manual. He creates this thing because he believes in the product. Not only does he create a manual, but he puts his stamp of approval on it. He puts his name on it because if you have a problem with the product, his desire is that you hit him up. Hit her up, hit me up, hit up my company if you have a problem with my product. Why? Because I stand by my product. That's why I put my name on it. That's why I branded it. That's why I'm announcing it. Just like I'm announcing this book, Unfiltered Honey, I'm announcing this product, Unfiltered Honey, because I stand by this product. Are you listening to what I'm saying? I stand by this product. I stand by what I am creating because I know the benefit, I know the potential, I know the purpose. Are you understanding? And I know what it's supposed to accomplish. So I stand by it. So it's a lot of people who have not accepted this gift. And that's how they wind up all over the place. That's how they wind up with so many sexual partners, because it's like everybody's in this mindset, or so many people, I won't say everybody, so many, it's masses of people that are in this mindset of just fulfilling how they want to feel. But the sexual experience, the intimate experience, is about more than how you want to feel. See, that's a mess all in and of itself. And see, out of the context of the covenant between the man and the woman, the whole goal of the sexual experience, of the intimate experience, is for you as the partner to please the partner and the partner to please you. It's not about you going into the dynamic of this intimate experience trying to figure out how you can get off. Man, I didn't plan to do all this tonight, but it is what it is. Hey, brother, I see you, Chris. It is not about when you're in this intimate experience, and I'm doing the singles version first, but like I said, I've been married and I've been single. So I am authorized, and I have authorization to do both editions, and I'm going to be uncut. I'm going to be raw with you guys, because you have to understand that a lady in the street and a freak in the sheets is you're defining something by your appetite. You're defining something by what you think pleasures you, but it's a lot of who you are that you don't even know yet, and would never allow your mate to know about you because you're too busy trying to narrate the experience. You're too busy trying to control the narration. Are you listening to what I'm saying? If you allow love to take its place, if you allow the love and the passion of a mate to take place inside of that dynamic, there's a level of pleasure you wasn't able to give yourself. And I did just say that because a lot of you are too busy trying to pleasure yourself. And this is another way that you set yourself up for failure relationally, because you become such an expert at pleasing yourself, no one else can compete with you. Oh boy. Yep, hadn't planned to do any of this tonight, but we're going to go back to the back of this book and try to stay focused, because this is simply a premiere, and I want to just kind of give you guys an idea of who I am. I want to give you an idea of what I'm about, because I don't want you to be confused when it's time for you to purchase this book, when it's time for you to tap into the podcast. I don't want you to be confused, because I'm not a Christian, first of all. I'm going to make that very clear for those that are listening. And I know that might shock a lot of the believers that are tuning in. I am not a Christian. I do not subscribe to that. I am a son of God. I am a son of the Most High God, but I am not a Christian. I am not under the umbrella of the religious ideologies and concepts. The Bible is my foundational book, and I can say that because I've read it from cover to cover several times. A lot of people would not understand why that's my book of choice, or it's one of them anyway. And there are so many other inspired books, but this one in particular is a foundation for me. Okay. And this is a foundation for me because I understand what I'm reading. I understand that the Father's desire and his love and who he is, his character, is throughout that whole book concerning every area of your life. If you just go in just to get a quick message and just to make some people believe that you are a good orator, then you're an idiot, because that wasn't the purpose of the book. It was the purpose of the book was to show us how to live and how not to live, what to do and what not to do. This was important because if you're relating with somebody, then you need to relate on the level where they want to relate. You can't, you can't just do what you want to do when it's not just you, if that makes sense. So if you're saying or claiming that you have relationship with the Almighty, if you're claiming that you have relationship with the Creator, if you're claiming that you have relationship with Yah, and you're doing what you want to do, doing as it pleases you, then how in the world does that work? Because that's not the relationship paradigm. That's not how it works. And relationship requires more than just relationship with one. It's not a single focused thing. It has multi-purpose, okay? It means that there are others or another involved in that dynamic. So this is really important. And I'm going to go back to the back of the book, okay? So intimate relationship is, in the case of many, an unaccepted gift from Yah to man. It's missed as a result of false ideas and concepts which we accept and practice. Did y'all hear that? It's missed because of the ideas and the concepts that we miss, and these false ideas and concepts we practice, okay? And this is what puts us in a bad position when it's time for a mate, because now we have these ideas and these concepts that we've been practicing for so long, and now if this person does not fall in line with my idea and concept, how about we just step back just a minute? Now, I started this broadcast to begin to talk about fellowship before the future of a relationship, right? We'll go back to that. And he just kind of led me, I believe he kind of led me in this direction because he knew who was going to be on. But how do we take these false ideas and concepts into a relationship where we intimately are saying that we care for someone? You can't care for me and bring your past into into this relationship. You can't care for me and not lay down everything that you ever thought or believed about relationship to renew, to redo. Are you hearing what I'm saying? This is not the old thing. This is not where you were. This is not where you came from. I'm a completely different person. That person is not what I knew before. It's not where I came from. It's not all of my bad experiences. And so now I'm not going to take the good pieces out of everything. I need y'all to hear this because this is invaluable information. I'm not going to take all the good pieces out of all the bad experiences and now expect this person to perform all of the good things that I felt, all of the good ways that I'm not doing that. If I am considering authentic relationship intimately with somebody, I'm going to have to lay down everything that I thought I knew about me, because now it's time for them to learn me, right? And if this is a marriage, if this is intimate relationship, right? Although I'm going to back up, because intimacy starts before the marriage, and intimacy also starts before the bedroom, or wherever y'all doing what y'all do, because the bedroom ain't the only place you can do that. But I'm just throwing some things out there at y'all because I want you to know who you're dealing with, okay? That's not the only place to do something at, right? You still do need to be discreet, though, in whatever you're doing. There needs to be discretion, because your intimacy with your mate, listen, that's a sacred thing. It's a sacred thing. So at the end of the day, right, we're going to need to lay down all that we think we know about ourselves, all that we think we know about sex, all that we think we know about intimacy. Why? Because we need to now have a new experience. We're now forging a new encounter. I'm not getting ready to again take everything that was ever done to me and now demand this person that I'm in intimate relationship with to do. Oh no, don't do it like that. Do it like this. And I'm not saying that there won't be times that you can't tell your mate, move a little bit to the left, move a little bit to the right. I'm not saying that. We need to be able to communicate and to communicate freely. And there needs to be freedom of communication where it is not offending the person that the communication is coming to. Because I'm going to tell you right now why a lot of women fake orgasms is because men, y'all not ready for the truth. It's not, it has nothing to do with the size of your piece. It has everything to do with the stature, the stature of who you are. Okay? Your spiritual stature, your emotional stature. It has everything to do with your intimate stature. And when I say intimacy, I'm not talking about what's happening in the sexual experience. I'm talking about your intimate quotient, your IQ, that IQ, not this one up here, but your intimate quotient. Okay? It has everything to do with that. All right. How are you able to connect intimately with your mate? Right? All right. So I'm trying to put y'all comments up. I'm trying to put y'all comments up because I'm just going on. I ain't paying attention to comments. Listen, I'm trying to get this out because I need for people to identify where we are. Okay. We need to truthfully and honestly identify our location, because one of the reasons why so many people have not been successful relationally is because they keep trying to make people perform what somebody else did. You keep trying to make other people perform, okay? Something that you've experienced. You keep trying to, or what you watched. Uh-oh. See, I didn't cross over into something. I wasn't trying to do that. You trying to make somebody perform what you watched. Oh, God. And that didn't have nothing to do with you. It didn't have anything to do with you emotionally. It had nothing to do with you physically. Okay? But it had something to do with a visual that was planting a seed in you. And this is where we get these ideas, these concepts, because a lot of have gathered their intel from things that are dark. I always ask people this, especially if I'm counseling somebody. Where did you get that from? Blessings to you, Anthony. Where did you get that from? You know, I hear what you're saying, that you want this person to do or that person, but where did you get that from? First of all, you need to identify where you got that concept from, because if you can identify where you got the concept of what you're asking your mate to do, then you might want to reconsider some things. You might want to just, intimacy is a lost art. I'm just going to tell y'all. Intimacy is a lost art, and it don't take much of a man to just tell somebody that they want, fellatio. Anybody, can I tell you something? Anybody can do fellatio. A man can do fellatio on a man. Where is the intimacy between the husband and the wife, the man and the woman, that nobody else can fulfill? See, that's more than just the sexual experience, but it can become such an experience, such an encounter between a husband and a wife because of all the other dynamics that nobody else can feel this. See, y'all don't have your only you stuff because you're still trying to do all of them stuff, right? You don't have an only you. You don't have an only you when you're dealing with your mate. You can get it from anywhere because for you, it's just the feeling. It has nothing to do with the emotional. It has nothing to do with the future. It has nothing to do with the legacy. It has nothing to do with all of the things that should be invaluably important for you and your family. It has nothing to do with any of that. So for you, if it's just about the feeling, you can get that from anywhere. I mean, in all honesty, hell, they got these dials now. Or I'm sorry, they're not dials anymore. They went from blow-up dials to artificial intelligent dials that can communicate with you what you want to hear. You understand what I'm saying? I was just watching a movie about a month ago. It might have been the beginning of this month. Blew my mind. If I could remember the name of it, I would tell you. If I put it in the what-you-call-it section for you guys. But just absolutely amazing what the enemy's desire is, and his desire, how he's designed this whole situation of intimacy, because he is a counterfeit. You understand what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? He is a counterfeit. So everything that he does is going to be counterfeit of what it was originally intended to be. And if you are so busy dealing in counterfeit intimacy, counterfeit sexuality, counterfeit imaging, then you'll never come into the pleasure that was designed for you in your relationship. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Come on. Come on. Hey, hey. Oh, I see a Facebook user. They're not saying they're not telling me who they are. Hello, Facebook user. I'm glad to have you tonight. I'm glad to have you. It would be nice if you put up who you are. But yeah, just put it up there. So deeper levels. Listen, sis, it's deeper levels to this thing. See, one of the reasons why we deal in such surface is because we're dealing with the knockoff. But when we understand the depth of the creator, the depth of who he is, and the depth of everything he created, like there is no end to the depths of intimacy. There is no end. You'll never figure it all out before it's all over. Just like you'll never figure out everything about your mate, but you have to have a desire to seek out, to search out, to dig out the jewels of who the person is that you're connecting with. But those things are lost arts. No, men are not pursuing women like that anymore. They are not going after what they say they want. They don't know how to communicate anymore. Are you listening to what I'm saying? Now we just running game. Now we just saying what people want to hear. You understand what I'm saying? But there is no depth of conversation that searches the deepness of the female that you're saying, of the woman that you're saying you're after. There has to be, listen, sis, hey you, even if you are already currently married, you never exhaust identifying who she is. You'll never exhaust who he is. You'll never exhaust identifying who he is. You have to, and I know the man keeps coming up first, but that's the order of things. It's the order of things. It just is. And there's such a disorder in the earth concerning the man and the woman. There's such a disorder in the earth concerning intimacy, concerning how things work. And so this is why there are so many issues relationally. This is why people have lost their identity. This is why people don't even know who they are, male or female anymore, because there's such a loss of understanding the depth of who the Father is and the depth of everything that he created. Man, there's a depth in intimacy. There's a depth in sexual engagement with your mate. There's a depth. And just let's go back. Let's rewind. Let's rewind for a minute. I want to come off of that for a moment because I want to go back to the platonic nature of relationships and how, because you see someone, that doesn't mean that that's your mate. You understand what I'm saying? It could be somebody that you need to know for your future. It could be somebody that you need to be connected to for business purposes. Listen, it's a whole lot of reasons that you could be identifying this person. But if you only identify people by what you see and then by what you want to feel, oh my God. If you only identify people by what you see on the outside and by what your loins or your lower part wants to feel, then you will misidentify the relationship. Come on. Superficial and artificial gratification. Absolutely. It's artificial because it's not going to last. Because whenever that person, listen, this is the purpose of the unmuted man. This is why I believe the Father's launching all of this stuff at the same time. And listen, I'm just trying to keep up with what he's doing because the unmuted man understands his voice is necessary, not just his game. Not his game. His game is not necessary when he's dealing with a real woman. His voice is necessary because it's something even about the timbre of a real man's voice. But we got all of these men who have nothing to say. Why? Because they've had bad experiences. They've been in bad relationships. And so now they've been silenced by the decisions, the diabolic decisions that they've made for their lives. They've been silenced by the decisions to connect improperly. And these women that they have connected to have isolated their voice. They've put their voice in a chasm. It's in a box. It's closed up. It's shut up. It's got a lock on it. You got to get your voice back, man. Because the woman that the Father will give to you, you have to be able to communicate. There's no other way for her to be watered. There's no other way for her to be cultivated. There's no other way for her to thrive except for your voice is communicating where she should be, how she should be. It's no other way that you're going to be able to assist her in beautifying, and there's no other way for your glory to rest on her except for you are able to speak to her. Are you listening to what I'm saying? You have to get past yourself. That's why relationship is for grown folks. I'm going to get back to the back of this book, okay? Relationship is for grown folks. And if you guys are wanting to pre-order, you can do that. I know I got nothing up on the screen about pre-orders, but you can inbox me. If you want to assist me on this journey, listen, I'm not hiding nothing that I'm doing in this season anymore, because one of the things that I recognize, and I'm going to say this to you guys before I get off of here, because I've been on here for 39 minutes. 45, I think, is going to be my time. You have to allow people to know what you're doing. My brother said this just in the last meetings that we were in, and it's such a powerful position. It's such a powerful truth. Nobody can assist you with what they don't know that you need assistance with. Are you hearing what I'm saying? They can't assist you with what they don't know you need assistance with. You're going to have to be vocal. You're going to have to be willing to put yourself out there. You're going to have to be willing to be seen. So I'm opening it up for you guys that if you want to assist me in this journey, I am self-publishing currently all of the books that I'm working on. Now, one of my persons that the Father has given me in this season, one of my people, I'm trying to figure out what to call them other than my person. But, people that are supposed to be connected to you, they're your people. They're your person. One of my accountability partners, she's an author, and she began to talk to me about going a different route in this season. And I could see going that route. I could see going that route for a season. I am the one that loves to, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm the one that loves to deny contracts because I understand the value of contracts. You understand what I'm saying? I understand the value of contracts, but there are some seasons when you need to contract in a different way. Even if you're going to just contract for that season, maybe I'll do 1, 2, or 3 books with a contract, right? Just so that my name can begin to get out there and people can begin to identify who I am, right? And in beginning to identify who I am, then beyond those contracts, people will know that when I'm writing something, they'll understand my brand. They'll know who I am, all of that good stuff. And so she presented another part of this. But even with that, if you're interested in partnering with me in this season, it takes money to do the things that I'm doing. And if you want to partner with that because you see the potential and you see the purpose and you are desirous to help me send this message to the world, then you can do that. You can do that. Just get with me. Get with me after this. Don't send it to no old cash apps, no old stuff. You're going to need to know. If you need to sell it, you're going to need to know where all of that goes and all that good stuff. So you could definitely connect with me. That was a sidebar. I didn't get on here to do that. But let's go back to the back of the book. I see you, Tanisha. Love you, honey. All right. So let's go back here. Absolutely. I see you, Tisha. Yeah, guilty of that. I've been guilty of that, but I'm no longer guilty of that because the truth of the matter is it's going to cost people something to be connected. It's going to cost you something to even receive from a person. It's going to cost you something. Like even if you were going to church, you would have to get up, put gas in your car, get dressed. You'd have to get clothes to wear, all of these different things. And then you'd have to go there. That means that takes your time. It costs something. I'm over this mindset with people that people think everything is for free. Just because I'm online does not mean it is free. Now I'm doing this as a premiere, as a but I'm telling you right now, most of what I'm doing in this season is probably going to go into a membership kind of situation, because at the end of the day, if you really want something, if something is really precious to you, if something is really important to you, you'll spend, don't do it. You'll spend $5 a month. You'll spend $10 a month. You'll spend $25 to be on another level and have coaching. You'll do that. You know why? Because that's important to you. And I'm just not in the space anymore where I believe that I should sell myself short. I'm not in that space anymore where I believe I should be selling myself short because I'm bringing a lot to the table. Jannard, blessings to you. Thank you for being in the room. So I ain't doing that. Okay? I'm not doing that. This is simply just a... it's a premiere. It's kind of a litmus test, for where we're going. It's actually to give me something to put up for the first podcast so that people can identify my personality, identify who I am. It's a long commercial of sorts, okay? So back to the book, okay? Would it shock you to know that there are devices and traps of darkness that form to keep you from the pleasure which is in the Father's plan and to lead you further and further down the rabbit hole of lust and despair? That means further and further away from the original design of intimacy. And you'll find there is constant longing in this place of lust and despair. That thing is never filled. Love can be filled. You understand what I'm saying? Even though you always want more of your mate, love can be filled. It's not an unending thing. Like when you're fulfilled, you can just bask in that love. You can bask in that place, right? But lust just is a deep, deep pit. You know what I'm saying? And it don't just stop with the person that you're with, the person that you're covenanted with. It continues with other people. That despair is, okay, well, I need this person for this, and I need that person for that. And this goes back to what I was talking about, where you got all these concepts and these ideologies. Come on. Oh, awesome, sis. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much. It goes back to all of these concepts of these ideas that were given to us that you don't even know where that stuff came from. You heard, and this is funny about people because they'll hear something like this and say, well, this, that, and the other, or I already, but you heard that from somewhere. What you trying to do is something that you heard. Have you ever thought that maybe the thing that you're trying to do is what's keeping you from the pleasure that you are desiring? Have you ever thought that you could be pleasured by pleasing your mate? Man, that's like a lost thought. It's not even a thought to people that I could get off just knowing that you are pleased. Not to mention that's your goal for me. You understand what I'm saying? This is so important. This is so important. Let me go back to the back of the book. I got to stay focused because I said I was getting off in 45 minutes, but it don't look like that's going to happen. So these rabbit holes of lust and despair is a constant longing, and it keeps us further and further away from this original place of intimacy and pleasure that the Father designed for us. So as you keep trying to fill these voids, because that's what despair and lust creates, it creates voids. This intimacy that has been deemed nasty and vile and vulgar and freak, right? Because I hear people that say they believers, they really excited about, oh, I need a freak. Okay, I need you to define what you're asking for. That's what I need you to do. I need you to define what you're asking for. Because if you really understood the definition, I know you think you know the definition of that because that's what they told you. They told you that, though. That's not necessarily the definition of that. And so you will get what you ask for. If you ask, you seek and knock, you're going to receive. And it's funny to me that people can ask, seek, and knock for all the damnable stuff, but can't figure out how to use their faith to ask, seek, and knock for the godly things. Okay, that's a whole nother story. Let's move on. Okay, so here we go. I want to say this. All you'll find there is constant longing. And as you keep trying to fill voids which were created by darkness, newsflash, or in the words of me and my sister, the inside joke, reality check, Danny, right? Satan devises problems to convince you to enact and then sells you his solution or further confusion. You remember I started this out saying that I'm really over all of this conversation, the convoluted conversations that are being had about relationships. And some of these relationship people that you even watching on Facebook, some of them I know, I've known them since youth. I've known them. They're bad people. They're bad people saying decent things. But when a bad person says something decent, that means they got it from somewhere else. And their contamination. Okay, so it's like going up to a river, right? The river got good stuff in it, right? It's rocks in there. It's all kind of things in it. It's fish in there. It's all kind. But if the waters are contaminated, you can't drink from it. Why? No matter how many good things you throw in that river, no matter if you put a amazing yacht on the river, if the river is bad, you can't drink from it because it's going to contaminate you. It's going to poison you. So, oh, sis, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, we've got to reconsider the people even that we're listening to when we're talking about intimate relationships. Because why are these conversations that they're having, why is it not something that they are actualizing? Hey, Asia, blessings to you. They're not actualizing any of this. They're not telling you all the mistakes that they made either. You be very mindful. Be very mindful of who you're dealing with. When people don't want to reveal themselves, when they don't, I told y'all repetitively, and I will tell you more, okay, in these podcasts to come. I will tell you my failures. One of my biggest failures was trying to get in intimate relationship to get away from family. Period. Hands down. Okay. I had a void in family life. So I was trying to create a family that I could, a godly environment, right? And I was connecting improperly. And so that improper connection became a detriment. It became a destructive force in my life Yes, I was dealing with some stuff familially, absolutely. But guess what? That's like people saying, that's like people saying, um, choosing the lesser of two evils. And it was really where my mind was in that season, was choosing the lesser of two evils. And can I tell you something? Evil is evil. There's no such thing as choosing the lesser of two evils. There's no such thing. No such thing. You hear what I'm saying? Evil is just that. It's evil. You know, wrong is just wrong. Not right is just not right. Okay? So when you're looking at these dynamics, and I should have had that on all along, but anyway, when you're looking at these dynamics, it's really important that you identify, one, why do you want to be in a relationship? Why? Why do you want relationship? Why do you desire a partner right now? Why? Why? Huh? It's still contaminated, Elder. Why? You got to identify. A lot of people are looking to fill the space that belongs to Yah with sexual fulfillment, which will never work. Absolutely, because your first, and that's in the book, your first connection is your God connection. Of course, as a child, your first connection is the parental connection, which is why so many of us are messed up, because the parental dynamic wasn't absolutely all that it should have been, right? So now we're grown and we're trying to relate with the Father, and a lot of our relating with Him is based on the relating that we had from a human perspective. And so now we've got to make some adjustments. We've got to see some things differently, right? In order to relate properly. But that should be your priority. And until that priority is filled, then there's no room for anybody else. There's no room for anybody until you have fulfilled the assignment of God and you. After you fulfill the assignment of God and you, and I know a lot of people, you're going to say, well, a lot of people are married and they not. Absolutely. But you have to understand there are a lot of people doing relationship outside of who created relationship. So they may get some on the surface good things. They may have some good values, but understand this as well. Nobody going to get into the New Jerusalem. Nobody's going to come into the kingdom based on what they do good. They're going to come into the kingdom based on what He has done good that we receive and that we reciprocate. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? So it's not going to be based on the merits of just how good you can be in and of yourself, but who He's made you because of what He's done and what you're capable of from that perspective. So it's just, man, it's so much. So much. I am really going to get off here because I feel like these grandbabies is really stirring, and I've had to say, don't you do it twice, but I want to look at the back of this. Again, Satan devises problems to convince you to enact these problems upon yourself, and then he sells you his solution of further confusion. The proof that you've been subscribed to his tactics are that the outcomes you've been receiving relationally have not been good. Did you hear what I said? There is proof that you have been subscribed to demonic tactics relationally. Oh boy, people don't like to hear this kind of stuff. There is proof that you have been subscribed to demonic relationships. How am I able to say this? Well, you don't know my life. You don't know. No, the fact that the relationship has not worked is proof that you've been subscribed to something other than what the Father has prescribed for you. Oh boy, when you subscribe to something that He did not prescribe, you got a problem. Did you hear what I said? When you subscribe to something relationally that the Father did not prescribe, then you've got a problem on your hands. Are you listening to me? That's really important to know. We've got to subscribe to divine instructions, because His instructions, I'm telling you, the pleasure that comes out of the place where He is, the right hand, you know, that right hand is a hand of authority. It's a hand of power. It's the hand that gives you power to execute the thing that He's speaking to you relationally. Okay. So the creator of intimacy has a prescription for your pleasure. There's a sexually wealthy place found in doing intimate life His way. Intimacy rooted in love is a satisfying place, but lust has no floor. It is a deep pit where man never finds satisfaction, sexually or emotionally. It is absolutely a trap, y'all. In this read that I'm finishing up for you guys now, Unfiltered Honey. In this read, you'll find the answers to fill those voids and find rest as you prepare your heart, your mind, and your body for the intimate partner that is your own. Listen, only if you're tired of living in sexual frustration should you open Unfiltered Honey to live an unfiltered life. Are y'all ready to live an unfiltered life? Sexually, intimately? Listen, it's important that we learn how to live an uncontaminated, a fulfilled life. It's a part of the Zoe. It's a part of the fullness. You know, nothing missing, nothing broken. It's all a part of that. The Father, he thought about all of this. Are you hearing what I'm saying? All of this was a part of what he was saying when he created you, when he created the dynamics of intimacy, all of that. All of this was a part of that. And so you got to tap into that in this season. And so I believe that this book is going to be an absolute blessing. I believe that it's going to help a whole lot of people. And as I'm writing it, it's reiterating things that he's been communicating with me for my own future. You understand what I'm saying? And so I'm excited. This, again, is the singles version that I'm working on now. I'm working on the singles edition of Unfiltered Honey currently. And behind that, I'll be working on the married edition. But I'm excited, y'all. I'm really excited. And I will reach out, sis. I will reach out. Yep, I'm going to reach out. I would love to have at least a group of maybe 50 people to read just read maybe the first couple chapters, the introduction to the first couple chapters. I will give you that free. If you want to be one of those people, then tap in. You know, inbox me. I need about 50 because I need you guys to leave feedback. I need you to leave feedback. I'm also going to give you a discount if you follow through, if you leave feedback. If you read it and you leave feedback where the book is being sold, if you are able to give, you know, your feedback there, then I will definitely give you a discount on your first book. You know what I'm saying? So it's important. And I want you to be able to purchase this and purchase it for other people. You know, help me get it in places. If you know of a youth group, because, you know, all they taught me in youth group was don't have sex before marriage. Okay, but we're talking about like youth group as in teenage. And if you think teenagers don't need this conversation, you're sadly mistaken because they're having it already. It's just not being had properly. Okay? So, if you know of a group that deals with young people, they need this conversation. They need to hear these things. They need to know that sex is not just about what happens in the bedroom. It's about what's happening it's about what's happening emotionally. It's about what's happening spiritually, all of that. You got to connect to somebody that knows how to connect to you on all levels, not just in one. Listen, if you connect to a person that can only connect with you in one area, you're going to get bored very quickly. You're going to be bored. You cannot be a son of Yah and connect with somebody that just pleases you sexually and think that relationship is going to last for the next 50 years. It's not. You're going to be disgusted. Shortly, you're going to be disgusted because there's no emotional feeding that's happening. There's no relating. There's no intimate relationship emotionally, because it's more than just the physical. It's an emotional place. You understand what I'm saying? It's emotional. All of that. It's all of that. So I'm excited. Y'all excited? Listen, I am excited, and I'm looking forward to finishing it, sis. I'm looking forward to the completion of that and some other things that I'm working on this season. I am completely stoked about what the Father is doing and what he's preparing for people in this season because he's serious. You know, he's serious. I'm going to read this. It's so true. If we had these conversations when I was younger, I know, come on. Our history would be completely different, sis. Sis, do you realize that if somebody had the balls to have these conversations, the balls or the ovaries, whichever, to have these conversations when we were younger, instead of just, don't have sex before marriage, come on, man. I hope you're not having sex. Come on, man. This thing is so much bigger than that. We need conversations that's going to give us a competency in the areas that we're going to. I can't go into an area and have no competency and think that I'm going to have good outcomes. It's just not going to happen. And this is Russian roulette relationally. You understand what I'm saying? When we don't have the proper information that we need to succeed, it's Russian roulette. All right? I'm getting off here, y'all. 60 minutes. I'm out of here. I appreciate you being on the live with me. Right. Do it. Why? Listen, honey, if I had understood legacy differently, if I had understood, and I hear people all the time talking about, wouldn't have done, changed a thing, baby. You're crazy. You're crazy and you've got mental issues. Because if I could go back and do it all over again, I would do it all differently. And I believe it with all my heart that I would have still had the same children I had. They just would have been by a different father. Hello? Because those children were assigned to me, right? I just believe that would have been fine. And I'm not going to change my mind about how I would have done things. I would have done things completely different if I had known completely different. Okay? There would have been some things that I would not have been curious about. Even though I feel like the enemy kept putting things in my face, but he was doing that for a reason. He was trying to pique my interest. You know what I'm saying? And you'd be surprised how interest can be piqued. In this season, a lot of children's interest is being piqued because their parents aren't paying attention to those devices they have in their hands. Excuse me. A lot of parents are not paying attention to the devices, nor are they paying attention to what their children are watching. The things that I'm hearing these cartoons say, I often have whole conversations with my grandchildren about, because I'm like, okay, I hear what that's saying. That's accurate. That's what darkness is doing. But we need to have a conversation about this. Can I tell y'all something to look out for? Because this is a big thing in this season. This green emerald. Now, if you know anything about green, you know that it surrounds the throne of Yah, right? That this emerald green is what surrounds his throne. So what is this thing that the enemy is doing right now with this emerald green jewel that everybody's looking for? Everybody's looking for on all the cartoons. I keep hearing this thing about this emerald green jewel. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So it's things that you need to look out for. But again, things happen and conversations come into play, and how we believe and how we see is all a result of what we've been trained by. And so a lot of people have been trained in a way. Come on. Yep. Oh yeah, they've been trying to steal the children. I mean, that is a tactic. That's a warfare tactic to get the children. And that's why I don't understand why nobody is dealing with the children properly, because this is the enemy's goal. He don't wait till we get grown to try to contaminate us. He's trying to contaminate us in our youth. You hear what I'm saying? He's trying to deal with us while we're young, so we have these different ideas and these different concepts. I just brought my oldest grandson out of this ideology that magic is okay. Like literally, I had to deal with that. Okay? I had to tell him who we are. Okay? Because there was no conversation about that. As a matter of fact, there was entertaining of the conversation. And I was like, no, ma'am, no, sir. We are prophets. We are not magicians. We don't do magic. We do signs and wonders. We work miracles. But we don't do magic. That's a whole nother realm of something. That's a dark realm. That's not a realm of light. That doesn't come from the Father. Okay? So we got to pay attention, because things are being formed. Imaginations are being formed. All of these different things are being formed, even in childhood. And so that's where the enemy usually opens up this can of debauchery, is in the childhood. Okay? And so then when people get to the mature age, and now they're trying to have a relationship, and they trying to do all these things, and they don't have a clue what they're doing. They try and do all this stuff, and they don't have a clue what they're doing. Okay? A clue of the purpose of what they're doing. None of that. It's just all about, I just want to feel good. I just want to be with somebody that makes me feel good, right? I just want to, it's no purpose in the subtle deception. There's no purpose subtly. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I love y'all. Thank you for being on here with me today. I'm excited about Unfiltered Honey. I'm excited about the podcast. And it's just amazing, because the truth of the matter is, I love how the Father uses his sons. He will, whatever is needed for any environment, he will give. If he's sending you into an environment, he will give you what you need for that environment. Were you guys able to hear the short version of the podcast, of the jingle? I don't know if you guys were able to hear it. Were you able to hear it? Because if you weren't, I'm not going to try to play it again, because I'm going to close with it. But I'm going to figure out how to put it in a space where you guys can hear it. Okay? Next time I come on, I promise I won't be doing this bootleg situation. I will play it where you can hear it. I'll play it where you can hear it. Okay? Yeah. Were you guys able to hear the jingle when I played it the first time? Was it clear to you? You know, people doing so much. But I love how the Father moves. He puts us in environments and he gives us what's necessary for that environment. You know? And that's just a beautiful thing, because no matter what he's giving you for the environment, it's still anointed. It's still got his glory on it. It's just going to reach somebody other than, okay. All right, let me see. I'm going to definitely let you hear it, sis, but I'm going to play it again. If you guys didn't hear it the first time, maybe it'll come clear, maybe it won't, but I'm just going to vibe to it while I'm going out, okay? I'm going to vibe to it. And the next time I come on, I promise I'll let you hear it. So don't be thrown back, because, you know, Apostle Lee, Authentically Crystal, Simply Crystal, all of those things, I do more than in the four walls. I need y'all to have some clarity about who I am. I'm not just for the four walls. I'm for the nations. I'm for the people that are lost. Okay? And so he's not only giving me a message to help and to heal the sons, but he's giving me a message to help and heal the sons that are lost. Not just the ones that think they're found already. Because a lot of them, they think they're found. You know, they don't need no help. So I'm not trying to help them. I'm going to go where I'm needed. Okay? And wherever he sends me that I'm needed, he's giving me a message for that people that's going to impact them. That's going to supernaturally impact their whole life. And so I'm excited about that. All right. So we're going to talk about sex, love, and marriage. We're going to talk about all that stuff in this season. And it's going to be amazing. All right. You're going to learn some new concepts. You're going to learn some new things. And I want to, before I get off, go back to the concept that I started with, which is the whole fellowship piece. How we got to learn how to fellowship before we start learning how to build a future. We need to learn how to fellowship first before we start future. Okay, a lot of people, they see somebody and you just automatically, oh, ooh, you know, we need to learn how to fellowship. It's okay to connect with people, but you need to learn how to connect on a fellowship level. And the fellowship level is not trying to impress and tell people everything that you want from them out the gate. It's you learning about them. And I don't know, I don't think I would even consider that dating, because dating, the definition of dating is something completely different than fellowship. Okay, fellowship means I'm gonna hang out with you, but I'm not yet ready to take on the burden of everything that you are for my life. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's the relationship that's inside of the covenant dynamic. Okay, I'm not ready to covenant with you, but I would like to fellowship. I would like to fellowship with you. I'd like to know more about you. I'm encouraging even the men that are going to be listening to this to take that approach in this season, because you often know in the beginning of a conversation, within the first, I would say 3 minutes. I feel like y'all used to be better at it, but I think because things are so desensitizing in this season that men have lost the edge of knowing who they're dealing with. But I think a lot of you still do know who you're dealing with, and that's why you deal with them, because you just want something from them. You don't want to give nothing to them. But that's a whole nother story as well, right? So let's learn how to fellowship before we start building futures. I think, and I know, it's not just what I think, but it's what I know is going to save a lot of you from relational failure in this season. So let's listen to it one more time. Let's see if we can pull it up. Can you hear it? The long version. I All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Unfiltered Honey, the podcast. I'm going to put this up for the first podcast. I'm excited that you were here with me. But you're going to be hearing a whole lot more about Unfiltered Honey and other things that I'm doing. I'm not going to even name it right now because I'm on Unfiltered Honey, right? So let's talk about that. But other stuff that you see up on my page, that's a thing too in this season, right? That's a thing. Unmuted man is a thing in this season. And we want the man to become unmuted because we need to hear the voice of the men in this season so that we can come into the place and the earth can come into the place that it needs to be. Unfiltered Honey is going to be released really soon. Those of you that want to connect, you can. Those of you that want to help me get this thing published, you can. Let me know. Let's make it happen. The world needs to hear a healthy version of intimacy, a healthy version of pleasure. It is not nasty. It is not vile. It is not vulgar. It was the Father's design, and it was for you. Peace to your house, guys. I'm looking forward to connecting with you on more occasions than this regarding Unfiltered Honey. See y'all later. Thanks for being on.